You want to get into Haverford, I want to help you do it. My name is Craig Meister, the College Meister. You can go to my website, collegemeister.com, to learn more about how I help students navigate the college application process successfully. Haverford is located just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a very selective and prestigious liberal arts college. And there's nowhere to hide at Haverford. You have only about 1,200 undergraduate students. So that means that if you attend, you will be one of the few, the proud, the Haverfordians who live and learn on that campus, again, outside of Philadelphia. And you want to do it, so I want to help you do it. So let's start right now with tip number 1. Below this video, there's a link to my classic article, How to Get into the Ivy League Ethically. I want you to read that article from start to finish because in it gives you all the information you need to make the most of your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade years, and also 12th grade years. But it really helps set the foundation so that when you round third base and head home into 12th grade, you're already going to be in a really strong position to be a very competitive candidate for admission at a school like Haverford. Tip number 2, it's extremely important that you consider early decision at Haverford. Haverford is almost like 2 different schools to get into depending on when you apply, early decision versus regular decision. The early decision acceptance rate at Haverford is in the low 40s, maybe depending on the year, high 30s, but that's basically 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 students who apply early decision get into Haverford, whereas the overall acceptance rate is in the high teens. So that means the regular decision is just a complete mess. You do not want to apply regular decision to Haverford if you can avoid it, because the chances of you getting in regular decision are far below your chances of getting in early decision. Now, with that said, early decision, and they offer both early decision 1, which is a November 15th deadline, and early decision 2, which is a January 5th deadline, those are binding agreements. So that should only be the case for you to choose if Haverford is in fact your first choice school. Now, again, you're watching this video, so you probably really want to get into Haverford. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is Haverford my first choice school? And if it is, have a talk with your family about the pros and cons of early decision. But one pro for sure is that your chances of acceptance statistically go up quite a bit. If you put out a very strong application, early decision, your chances are frankly double, if not larger, of getting in early decision than they would be regular. The reason being, of course, is multifold. Haverford wants students who are excited to go there, and they know that the students who are applying early decision most likely are very excited to go there because they're basically saying we will attend if we get in. But also, the students who did not get into all of the other elite or selective liberal arts colleges or intellectually rigorous institutions, early decision or early action, are going to be, not all, but many are going to be applying to Haverford regular, right? So it's extremely important that you avoid the goodness, well, I don't even know what the word is to describe it, but basically the logjam of people who will be applying regular decision if you can avoid it. So again, that's why, just strategically speaking, early decision makes such a great sense for you if you really know Haverford is your first choice school. I prefer early decision 1 because it's like ripping it off like a bandit. You get it done early in your senior year. You hear before winter break of your senior year that you've been admitted. What a great way to spend the holiday season, knowing that you are set to go to Haverford the next fall or next August. And I strongly encourage early decision 1. But if you, for whatever reason, can't get your act together by early decision 1, Haverford is one of those schools that also offers you the opportunity to bind yourself to it, admitting yourself to the school if you get in, of course, early decision 2. Tip number 3, Haverford is a school that really likes to look at students carefully. They have a small number of students who attend each year. They're very interested in reviewing students holistically. So with that in mind, they really are going to look over your application with a fine-tooth comb. Why is this important in the context of what we're discussing right now? I always say use as many of the blank spaces on an application as possible to further differentiate your candidacy, your background, as much as you possibly can. One of my favorite ways to do that for a school like Haverford is in the additional information section of the Common App's writing page if you're applying to Haverford on the Common Application. Now, of course, Haverford also takes the Coalition by score as well as QuestBridge application, but I prefer the Common Application for a whole host of reasons, which I should do a video on separately another time. But assuming you're applying on the Common Application, I strongly recommend that you use the additional information section on the Common App's writing page in order to elaborate on one or more of the extracurricular activities that you've skeletally described in the Common Apps activities page, but which you don't have that much space to elaborate on, of course, because the Common Apps activities page is extremely short. You don't have so many characters to work with on the activities page. So whether you only have 5 activities that you are reporting extracurricular-wise on the activities page, or 15 or 20, doesn't really matter. I'm assuming at least one of those activities could use some more explanation as to your accomplishments or achievements within that particular activity. And any of that overflow content that does not fit into the Common Apps activities page should go into the Common Apps writing page, specifically within the additional information section, which lives below the Common App essay section within the writing page. So make sure that you do draft out a full-fledged, unabridged resume that it includes all of your awesomeness in it. And to do that, I strongly recommend that you take my very short course, How to Build an Extraordinary Extracurricular Resume, which is linked below this video, because that's going to teach you how to develop that Google or Word doc resume first. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be detailed. It's going to have all the details about your extracurricular exploits from the summer after 8th grade and forward. And then from that point, with a school like Haverford, you're going to be able to copy and paste the most impressive 650 words from that document into the additional information section of the Common Apps writing page as a supplement for the activities that you're also going to describe in as much space as you have available to you in the Common Apps activities page. Both should be done. Don't skip or give short shrift to the activities page of the Common Application. Complete that as best as you can, but just know you have more space in the Common Apps writing page within the additional information section to go further and really shed light on what it is you've been busy doing outside of taking classes and or tests over your high school career. The next tip revolves specifically around the Haverford essay prompts. They're short little essay prompts, and before I get to the essay prompts for Haverford for the 2023-2024 admissions cycle, I do just want to give a shout out to the fact that below this video I'm including bonus content from previous videos I have produced here on YouTube, specifically about the Common Application essay. Those obviously require a lot of discussion and time in and of themselves, because the Common App essay is your marquee essay when you're completing the Common Application. It's a 650-word essay that you must complete for schools like Haverford in order to be considered for admission, but they're generic in the sense that they're not tied to a particular college. So I'm not going to be talking about the Common App essay on this particular video, but that's very important in terms of getting into Haverford, and therefore below this video, I want you to watch all of those Common App specific videos, Common App essay specific videos that I produced in the past, because the tips and tricks included in those videos and strategies about how to approach which prompt to pick and how to draft that all important essay, all of that is extremely critical to making sure that your overall Haverford application is strong. But for the purposes of saving you time today, in this particular video, we're only going to focus now on the actual 2 specific essay prompts that Haverford itself is asking applicants on its supplement, and these are those for the actual 2023-2024 admission cycle. Prompt number 1, tell us about a topic or issue that sparks your curiosity and gets you intellectually excited. How do you hope to engage with this topic or issue at Haverford? And you have 200 words, only 200 words to answer that question. With a question like that, you have a twofold challenge. You want to be able to show yourself excited by or curious and inspired by a particular topic, but you also want to be able to show yourself engaging with that particular topic at Haverford and not any old other school. So it's a 2-pronged mission. You need to convince the reader early in this very short response, let's say within the first 50 words or so, that you are basically in love with a particular topic, ideally like a particular major at Haverford, right? Or something that's covered by that major at Haverford, and how you just can't get enough of it. And then you have to then transition at some point between words 75 and 100 to showing how you intend to engage with that particular topic or issue at Haverford. And there you got to get really specific, down in the weeds. You can't just say, well, I really look forward to joining this special interest group, because that special interest group, frankly, most likely in most cases will exist at almost every other liberal arts college that you're also applying to. You got to get hyper specific. You need to name maybe a professor, or you need to name a particular program within that special interest group that is unique to how that special interest group runs at Haverford as opposed to other schools. So you've got to get very hyper focused on specific details, and you're going to paint a picture with your words of how you're going to get involved and go deeper with that intellectual curiosity or a topic or issue at Haverford College. In terms of the actual structure of this essay, even though you have sort of two main goals in this essay, you still should structure the essay as a traditional essay. And what I mean by that is a 1 or 2 sentence introduction with a thesis that makes clear to the reader where you're going in the body. Then the body should be several sentences long, about a paragraph or so, where you're showing yourself not just in the past passionate about that topic or issue, but again, transitioning to showing how you are going to actually pursue in the future, specifically at Haverford, that topic or issue, now that you've explained why it sparks your curiosity and gets you intellectually excited. And then in the conclusion, which is a sentence or so, you want to say something new and intriguing. Say something new. Do not just repeat the thesis or intro statement in new words. Say some new idea. Share some new idea, because that's what a very talented writer and deep thinking intellectual would do. And Haverford, of course, is a very intellectual environment, and so you want to be keeping up with the Joneses to make sure that you prove to them that you know how to write, like Craig Meister tells you how to write. I know how to write. Haverford wants students who know how to write well. Why do they want students who know how to write well? Because they want students who know how to think clearly. And thinking clearly is a key ingredient to writing well. And so that's why you want to take the time necessary to really flesh out this response. And it should be doable for you. If it is one of your top choice schools, you should know a heck of a lot about Haverford. And if you don't, make sure that you treat this short little essay as a persuasive research-based essay, in the sense that you're not just going to be sharing details about what gets you curious and the spotlight's entirely on you like the Common App essay. On this particular essay, you need to make sure that you're proving to them that you know just as much about Haverford as you know about yourself. With the next prompt, you only have 200 words to respond as well. This is that prompt. We have highlighted for you some of the values that shape the Haverford community. What are some of the values you seek in your next community? How do Haverford's values, as demonstrated through our honor code, resonate with you? Make sure you read the honor code at Haverford before you even start to draft or brainstorm this response. But it's a really nice adjunct to the first question, which I think is more focused on your intellectual curiosities, i.e. your academic major, maybe your pre-professional goals, your career goals. All of that can be wrapped up in the response to number 1. But in the question number 2, you have an opportunity to broaden out the scope of why you are passionate about joining the Haverford community by leaning specifically on the value system that Haverford really tries to infuse in all of its students, and hopefully will already have in all of its students who they accept. And they're really trying to put a finger on the pulse of your value system here and how you want your college experience to look and feel beyond just what you study and what you major in, or what your career goals may be, and how they are going to be supported by Haverford. This is your opportunity to really, as the prompt asks, highlight some of the values you seek in your next community. Now, don't try to bite off more than you can chew. You only have 200 words. So I would focus on 1 or 2 very important values that resonate with you, that also clearly resonate with Haverford based off its honor code. As the second question within this prompt specifically states, how do Haverford's values, as demonstrated through our honor code, resonate with you? That's basically a wink, wink, a nod, nod, saying, pick one of the values you see in our honor code as one or two of the values that you're going to be speaking about in your prompt, or at least ones that are related, so that you can paint a picture with words of how you are a strong fit philosophically for the Haverford community, just as much as the Haverford community is a strong fit for you philosophically. It's going to be like a marriage made in heaven. You have to have the same value system, or at least an overlapping value system, in order to make this marriage work for the next 4 years. And so that's your challenge with this particular prompt. How, again, you structure the essay, I think, should be relatively typical. As I often say, an introduction with a thesis, clearly defined thesis that gives the reader a roadmap of what you're going to be trying to prove within the body. And that's where you're going to give the juicy details to prove how those particular values within the honor code that you choose, one or two, resonate with you and relate back to the one or two values, hopefully the same values or very similar values that you're mentioning that you seek in your next community. Haverford also just gives you a little extra tip with this particular prompt. They say, as you think about how to answer this question, you might draw from how you have been influenced by other communities you have been a part of, experiences you may have had within your communities, or opportunities you have had to shape or even change your communities. That's not a bad extra tip. In this current environment, we're in a post-affirmative action world. They're obviously still very interested in learning about sort of your background, your value system, the world you're coming from, but it's also an important sort of extra tip for all applicants, regardless of the community you're coming from, because it gives you the hint that if you can show the application readers at Haverford how you've previously demonstrated one or two of the values you're going to be focusing this particular prompt on, that's going to be much more convincing than if you just tell them you have this value. So it doesn't mean that you're going to have a resume entry embedded within your response because you don't have the space. But you should definitely consider showing yourself, demonstrating the values that you hold dear, as opposed to just saying and telling the reader that you have the values that you hold dear. Because the latter is not provable, whereas the former is based off of where you position yourself in the past, proving that you have in fact demonstrated these values by your choice of how you've spent your time or what you've engaged in and how you hope to continue to engage with that particular activity or value at Haverford. Like we did in prompt number 1, this is an opportunity to name drop an activity or two or specific engagement or opportunity or two, again, that exists currently on Haverford's campus, or you maybe want to create on Haverford's campus, where you will be able to specifically continue to live out your value system at Haverford beyond just what gets you intellectually curious and excited, those topics or issues, because those are, of course, focused on prompt number 1, whereas this is more like the rest of you, the whole person. Prompt number 1 is more about the student, the intellectual. Prompt number 2 is more about the whole person. So I hope that these tips have helped you, because you can get into Haverford regardless of when you apply, though of course statistically speaking it is easier to get in early decision, but you still need to have a strong application. They still reject people early decision at Haverford if you have not thought clearly, long and hard, and written well on your application, presenting yourself maturely, thoughtfully, articulately, and obviously concisely, since you don't have many words to work with, are all important traits for a school like Haverford College if you were trying to get in as a first-year applicant. Again, if you want to learn more about me and how I can support you one-on-one through the college application process, my name is Craig Meister. You can go to my website, collegemeister.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel because I produce videos on this and other colleges whenever I possibly can, and other videos related to the world and the whole realm, if you will, of college admissions when I can and when I'm not working with students one-on-one. So subscribe to this channel, like this video, and tell your friends about it as well. Until next time, stay safe and stay well, and I wish you the very, very best of luck on your application for admission to Haverford College.